Willow Creek Springs presents Healthy Living with your host, Joe Grumbine.
Well, hello and welcome back to the Healthy Living Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Grumbine, and today we have back Dr. Robert Hoffman, and we're always excited to talk to you, Robert. Welcome to the show.
Nice to be here, Joe, always.
So we had a big week this week. We had a kind of a milestone that we hit, and we talk a lot about information and where you're getting it from. And I don't know how many times I've heard people present something to you and your response is usually, show me the published paper. And now I can say, here you go. So you've been working on this case study of my case for a couple of months now, gathering all the intel, the pictures, the reports.
Well, that's all you. You sent that wonderful set of photos that showed your tumor melting away day by day. And you sent the very nice MRI or CT.
Right. And you and your whole team was able to put that together and create a narrative of what we did, the protocol, and just the whole strategy that we had. Why don't you kind of walk us through how you guys assemble all that? I mean, it seems like when you read the thing, it looks like, wow, that'd be easy to do, but I know it has to be done in a particular way with a particular format and a particular type of information put in a specific way, and you guys know how to do that pretty well.
Yeah, it wasn't very hard, Joe, because the results were so good. Basically, with the kind of results that you gave us, it was a piece of cake. It's hard to write something up when you have a marginal result. What am I talking about? Yeah, maybe hedge here, hedge there. No hedging here. So we had two figures, the multi-paneled figure of about 30 of your pictures.
Right.
That you took. Thank God you did that.
Yeah.
And the tumor just melting away. It's just unbelievable. And then you got you helped me and you gave to me the beautiful scan. We put that in, and everything just fell in place. Basically a paper has a title, an abstract, an intro, the methods, the results, and a discussion and references.
And in this case,
and this one, it was easy. We had to wait a little while because you get in line.
right.
We sent it in. It was peer reviewed. Okay, accepted. Then finally they sent some proofs. You look at them, you check them, and I'm a real stickler. I went through about 5 proof rounds with them. They hate me for it, but I try to get things, best I can. And then you were lined up for the November issue, and here we are.
So,
and it's out, and that journal has a really good path to PubMed. Not all journals do.
Right.
And they were on almost immediately, even in the shutdown. There's some angel taking care of PubMed. It's a government website. I don't know who's taking care of it, but somebody's taking care of it.
I was surprised because I know when you sent me the article from the journal, we talked about PubMed, and you were saying, well, it might be a while because,
Yep, and it went on that very evening.
Right. And the next morning, boom, there we are. So
here we are, yeah.
In this case, like
the whole world sees it now, Joe.
I love it. Well, I've already shared it with a number of physicians and a number of people that, I I know that they're kind of watching what I do, but I'm just a layman. I don't have that degree of expertise to say, well,
But
this is
nobody
this.
does, Joe. We can't. All we can know from this paper is that you got better.
Right.
Was it the chemo itself, or was it the chemo along with the methionase?
Well,
Our hypothesis is it was the combo, but we can't prove it, and we don't care.
yeah, and we're not even trying to. In some
Even if
cases,
we tried, we couldn't do it. It's
exactly.
not a clinical trial; it's a case report. And
And,
in the journal's table of contents, it was listed under case reports.
right,
How
right,
about that?
and,
And so that's what it is. It's a case report. And
right,
people can say whatever they want. I don't care.
right.
What we care about is that you're all better.
Oh yeah, that is objective number one. That was what this was all about to
Yeah,
begin
and
with.
it was a really unexpected result,
Right.
and that lends you to think your hypothesis that it was the combination. It may have a good chance of being correct. We'll never know.
Well, I don't want to go back and
But
find out a second time. I'll tell you
people
that.
don't get those kind of responses very often.
Well, especially with this cancer that I had, it's
Yeah,
a very
we're
aggressive.
going to irradiate you to hell.
Yeah, yeah, and I would have been. I went back and I looked at the at the original records of the uh, radio oncologist, and his notes were very clear about how he had discussed with me all of the potential negative side effects, and including getting a G-tube put in, and losing weight and not being able to eat, not being able to swallow, salivary glands falling apart, vertebrae collapsing, teeth falling
Jesus.
out. I mean, and the list goes on and on and on of not just potential but likely side effects, because your neck is a high traffic area. There's everything going on in your neck. You got bones, you got muscle, you got nerves, you got arteries, you got veins, I mean, everything is going through there. You got your
They
lymphatic
say, yeah,
system.
I mean, and all your food goes down it, and all the air goes down it.
Right, everything you need. And
Yeah,
not only
you
that, but
got
it's
your,
a stone's
so,
throw away from your brain, a stone's throw away from your lungs. Like,
yeah,
it's really not the place you want to be blowing up with radiation.
no.
And they were more than glad to do it. And
Well, that's their main guideline, and
right,
that's what they've been taught to do. That's what they're paid to do.
right,
Uh, that they think that's the best, and we just went with logic. Well, can't we try the chemo first? Then
right.
we see that if we need the radiation, we'll get it. Can we try the chemo, please?
It just makes sense. Like, the Hippocratic Oath is supposed to include this sort of, I don't know, pretty important phrase about harming none, right? Isn't that the
The first, the Hippocratic Oath is do no harm.
right?
That's the first principle.
And you would think that would be pretty high on the list of, like, well, we have this choice of things we could do. Let's start with the thing that will harm the least and work our way out,
They
right?
don't, I think they don't think that way. Their guidelines say this is the best chance.
Right,
And they say if we don't give you the best chance, we're not doing right by you.
right.
That's what they think.
Yeah.
That's what they're taught. Maybe that's their experience. I don't know. Um, it's they don't want to harm you.
No, no, these are
No, they
not
want you to
evil
get better.
people. Right,
But that's all they know.
right,
That's all they know. And your chemo doc, thank God she was open-minded enough to just give you chemo.
right.
And then you kind of use that up and went to Dr. Song and got one of the greatest in the world.
Oh my goodness. I am just so tickled that There's just, in my opinion, there's been a series of miracles that have taken place through this. And, a miracle is generally the result of a lot of hard work and doing everything you can and thinking the right thoughts and everything put together. But call it whatever you want. But just the fact that, when this thing was growing and I couldn't get the dental clearance because I didn't know better. Remember in the beginning, I was going to go forward with everything they were requesting because I had to do something. And when I couldn't get the dental clearance, that was the first sort of, I don't know,
That was good luck.
it was the best thing could have happened because it slowed down my ability to get anything done. And at that point, the tumor was growing pretty dramatically in spite of the diet, the methioninases, all the other things I was doing. It
Yeah,
was
they
all
just weren't powerful enough for that kind of tumor. It
exactly.
has to be the combination.
It had already dug in and it had already built a superhighway. It had its blood system in place. It knew what it was doing and it was growing like crazy. I remember when they stuck that camera down my nose and I looked at that thing in the back of my tongue and I saw it. I still can close my eyes and see that thing. And it was like if you could describe it, it looked scaly, but the scales were slimy. And it was just like I could see the thing almost breathing, It was like it was it was staying alive. It was growing.
Yeah, it was probably the most lively tissue in your body.
Oh man, yeah, you could just look at it. It almost like breathed at me, and that just got my attention like nobody's business. I mean, it wasn't bad enough I had a grapefruit sticking out of my neck, but when you look that thing in the eye, whoo, I
Yeah.
tell you what, it really it focused my attention to the point that, we started talking more and more and you suggested this neoadjuvant solution, and it kind of blows me away that the doctors don't always go after a neoadjuvant solution. Like the more
It's not
research,
their guideline.
I know, but the more research you do on surgery, it's the most likely route to cause you problems in the future because the likelihood of them getting everything, even if they do like
It's almost zero, no matter
right.
what they say.
Right. Because they can't see it.
No.
They can only see the part they can see. And,
Yeah.
they go after like sometimes on a skinned one where they keep cutting off a piece and then they look at it under the microscope and they cut off another piece. I guess they have a chance of taking that out that way because you can.
Yeah. I had that on my ear
Yeah.
21 years ago and it never came back.
Right.
And that's exactly what they did.
Right. But you can't do that inside.
Nope.
You can only do that on the outside. So when you got it,
I was in the doctor's chair and we'd go
Right.
to the microscope together, see
Right.
how we're doing.
yeah. And I can understand that. To me, that surgery is a viable solution. And, for anybody who has a skin lesion or some type of a precancerous growth, hey,
Oh, Joe, they would have taken out part of your jaw. They would
oh,
have taken out the back of your tongue.
yeah, yeah.
Oh my God, what they would have done.
Well, and I've seen so many images of people that have had surgery that was not even nearly as bad as mine to start with. They showed a tumor that was like how mine was a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And a fraction of the size, and they still leave these gaping holes and taking out pieces of bone and taking out,
They
ligament.
would take out a part of your tongue. No
Yeah.
question.
Yeah. And, for me, a big part of my life is talking. I do this podcast, I teach people, I use my voice as part of my way of life and my living. It would have probably affected my voice to the point where I would not have been able to do the
Maybe
things
you couldn't use your mouth properly.
probably for months,
I
if
can't
not
imagine
ever.
how you would eat.
Right. Exactly. And And that's not even getting into the salivary glands. And, I keep looking at these, this group that I'm in, and the constant complaints of, my saliva is like paste and I can't even swallow at all. I've lost, 40 pounds, and I can't, I can't keep any weight on, even with the G tube. And then people come back, and here's the part that really gets me. I don't know how many times I've seen, 6 months, a year, 2 years after a surgery, and even the radiation. And then they'll come back and say, it showed up in my lungs, it showed up in my lymph nodes, it showed up somewhere else. And now we got to start all over again. And they already went through this grueling hell of weeks or months of this torturous treatment. And then they're looking at maybe doing it all over again. I couldn't even imagine. So
Yeah.
when it comes to publishing an article on a peer-reviewed periodical and then submitting it to PubMed, where it's like a clearinghouse of all these different articles, there are different categories of papers that are published. And I've seen clinical trials, I've seen case studies. I've seen. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the types of information that's published and maybe the standards that are held, to this? Because when you look at something in a site like PubMed, you go, well, I give that way more credence than I do the guy's, website or the blog or whatever else things are published on.
Hi, this is Joe Grumbine, and I wanted to share an update. The platform that hosts this podcast has made some changes to the subscriber settings, and we have a number of subscriber-only episodes that we offer to the supporters, and for a minimum of $3 a month, we can get you signed up. And if you're already signed up and you're having some kind of trouble locating these episodes in the other platforms, I would say maybe the best answer is to unsubscribe and then resubscribe. I'm sorry for the hassle. I don't have any way to make a change, but I'm very grateful for all the support. Thank you.
Well, PubMed has really democratized science. It's a free website. It's got over 41 million scientific publications on it. The abstract of all of them are free. The full paper of a good percentage of them are free. Every kind of study you can imagine is there. There's no criteria for the type of study. They don't let every journal on. The journal has to pass some credibility tests to get listed by PubMed. There's some journals that are not listed by PubMed, and I avoid them. Some of them I maybe like a little bit, but no way. And some of the fancy journals have these what so-called very big impact factor numbers. That means how often they get cited. And some of the journals on PubMed have a very small impact number, but you can't tell that on PubMed. It's very democratic. So the fanciest Nature paper is listed right alongside the journals that are not so fancy. And I'm very grateful for the journal we published in. We published there a lot. It's so open-minded. They want to publish things that are good for science and not to promote their journal, get more citations, whatever. No, they want to have good science. So PubMed is very democratic. You can't, by the list, you don't know which is the high impact journal. Oh, fancy, costs $10,000 to publish in,
Right.
or the little guy that publishes a lot of good stuff, all
Well,
on the same list.
you have been very prolific with your articles that have been published, and I have looked at a number of them, but you've published 23 papers just this year alone, according to what I'm looking at. And there's a wide variety of papers that you're publishing, and it looks like a lot of them are experiments, and you've got this amazing team of people, and it's not always the same team on every.
Now, some of it's collaboration, Joe.
Right.
We have groups with our group with another group. We have that too.
And so tell me about, a lot of these, they look like they're an experiment or a study on not somebody's case study, but but in some cases they are. I mean, you're looking at breast cancer, you're looking at pancreatic cancer, but some of these are in animals. You got
Yeah,
mice
some of them are
involved.
just in the dish. So what we've been trying to do the last couple of years is try to find the best synergy of chemo and methionase. And we've done this in a number of different ways to show what, especially we want to see what's synergistic with methionase and different kinds of chemo that affect the cancer cell, but are not synergistic and have a minimal effect on the normal cell. And a lot of people don't do that. I don't understand it. Oh, this kills the cancer and that kills the cancer, and here's the best way to kill the cancer. Well, did you try it on the normal cells?
Right, exactly.
I mean, I think
huge.
the kid in fourth grade might ask that question.
Right.
Maybe
Well,
third grade.
You can kill a cancer cell pretty easy. Just put a little bleach on it.
That's all you need to do.
It'll die, but put that.
Yeah, I mean, during the COVID, the president was ready to inject himself with Clorox.
I remember.
So, yeah, the idea is, and the difficulty is, how do you kill the cancer cell without killing the patient? This is what it's all about.
Well, and just recently you did a study with what was it, cysteine and methionine kind of side by side, and you restricted the cysteine, and
we haven't published that. That's going to come out soon.
Oh, okay.
Joe.
I'll keep quiet on that one then.
Yeah, no, you don't have to keep quiet on it. It turns out when you restrict cysteine, it's not a cancer-specific vulnerability.
Right.
You zap the normal cells the same as you zap the cancer cells. When you restrict methionine, you zap the cancer cells and the normal cells hang in there.
And I mean, like you said, I can't think of a more important factor. And there are people out there talking about cysteine restriction.
Oh, up the yin yang, cysteine,
right.
Ferroptosis, cysteine. That's one of the most popular things now. And I say, hey, fellas, what happens on the normal cells?
Right.
And that's our young scientist, Utah, he said he hasn't even been here a year from Japan yet.
Right.
About and did it. Yep. You take away cysteine, you zap the cancer cells. Yay. Right. You take away cysteine, you zap the normal cells. Boo.
Right. And so the reality is, and I think we have one of the members of our group that maybe has been a victim of this to some degree. Probably it's more complicated than that. But when you're going after, this cysteine restriction by whatever means. Maybe it's using a selenium compound or going after this ferroptosis reaction. And the goal of that in large amount is to remove the cysteine from your diet, and remove it just like methioninaise does, takes out the methionine. Well, when you have somebody like Gabriella who is compromised already, and she's going through trying to solve her problem, and she's working with this system of compounds and diet and all the different things she was doing to try to, remove the cysteine. I can't help but wonder, with the complications she's had, that maybe that didn't make things worse for her.
It may have. The thing I worry most, it may have. The
We
thing
don't
I
know,
worry
but
most about her, she's not getting chemo.
I
The
know.
doctor said, "Oh, the window of treatment is closed." Can
Yeah.
you imagine the doctor saying that?
No, I would say give it to me anyways. Let's find out. You know,
She needs another doctor, and
yeah,
it seems like she's all by herself. There's nobody kind of advising her or what. I don't really know her situation, and Dr. Exame keeps giving her good advice on the Zoom meeting. She
right. I
doesn't
think
seem to
you're talking
understand
to
it,
her on
or
the
I
side
don't
as
know.
well.
I feel it's her situation. She needs help.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think I've talked to her on the side several times, and I told her anytime she can get a word with Dr. Exame that, she should take heed. I mean, he's been between you and him, before Dr. Song, I was getting a lot of good guidance that helped me in my own research and, you know, spending time in here and not over there, because you guys already had experience with some of the things I was looking at, and it was instrumental in not wasting my time. Dr. Exume's and yours, both of your thought is, well, you got always many choices, but you can rule out some things pretty quickly, and you can decide where to spend your time pretty quickly as far as what's most likely to do the most good and the least amount of harm. I think if you start weighing options out that way prior to just, trying things, but when you have cancer, most people that I run into are just almost frantic, and they get hit, we get hit with this information that says this thing that you now are aware of, you've had it probably for a long time, but you're now aware of it, and if you don't take some pretty dramatic action, it's going to get worse and eventually overcome you. And so when you have to reckon with that a lot of times, and then we live in this crazy world where information's everywhere, and a lot of it's terrible information and some of it's good.
Well,
And
Dr. Exame always says, "What's what's the evidence base?"
right,
1 degree of evidence, 2 degrees, 3 degrees. He rates the evidence.
yes,
I mean,
that's what helped
one,
me.
a 5 degree. He rates the evidence, and then
Right,
you should be able to make a decision based on the rating of how much evidence you got. When you're in the court of law and the jury's in there, you're trying to convict somebody on hearsay.
right,
It's pretty tough.
yeah,
But when you got the smoking gun,
right,
the jury can vote. And so the same with the cancer treatment. If you have a high degree of evidence to what you should try to do, there's a good chance that might help you.
and at least start there and put your energy to there until you've exhausted that, or have
Yeah,
used it to the
and
max.
there's Dr. Exame put it to me. He comes visits us about once or twice a month. It's always a great education for me. Sit down with him.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm looking forward to sitting with him one time, but every time
oh
I reach
boy,
out, he's always busy.
it's no school could be like that.
Yeah,
And he's saying, some people just get so hooked on one anecdotal result. Oh, somebody took the ivermectin and they're cancer free.
Right.
Even if that's true, which I doubt, I say, yeah, there's a guy that fell out the 7th floor and he survived too. You want to try?
Right. Exactly. And correlation and causation are seldom connected. Like there's a lot of things that happen and another thing happens and another thing happens and this other thing happened that those other first things didn't cause. But
Well, it's hard to know. It's hard to know. And in cancer, nothing's absolute, nothing at all.
Right.
So we need to make informed decisions. I couldn't think of a better way than being on our Zoom.
Right.
We need to.
For the listeners that are new to this podcast, every Sunday at 4 p.m. Pacific time, we have a Zoom meeting. And this is a group of people from around the world who have used these principles of a low methionine diet and methioninase and some other form of therapy. And
most of the successful patients have taken first-line chemo as well.
Right.
The standard great therapy that we try to make work better.
And it's always a combination of things, and everybody's cancers are unique. And that's a big part of the message with this podcast is don't do what I did, but learn the way I learned. And
yeah, that's very well put, Joe.
Yeah, and find out for yourself what you need. And my guess is that the things that I did will probably help you, but you might need to do some things different. You might need a different chemo drug, or you might need to add more of something or less of something. But learn your own problem and learn it as well as you can, and then take the time to start with the beginning. That low methionine diet, as far as I know, will help everybody who has cancer. Like, unless
everybody should be on it. That's
right.
a basic.
Yeah.
That's surely a basic. I mean, that's basically known since 1959. That's a no-brainer. Then you start from there, and then you go to the next step, and the next, and the next.
Exactly.
But being on a low methionine diet, there's no downside as long as you just concentrate a little bit and keep your calories okay.
And frankly, even if you didn't have
that's a basic.
It would be a good, healthy diet. I think most people.
Oh, it's a real life-lengthening diet.
Right. And it takes some things, some principles that people, think about. Even vegans, everybody's so concerned about protein. But unless you're a major bodybuilder or a fireman or somebody that is just working out like hardcore all the time, you probably are consuming way more protein than you need. And
Joe,
it's not better for you.
You've probably seen some bulls, haven't you?
Sure.
That's all from grass.
Right. Or a gorilla.
Or a gorilla.
You want to think about a strong animal, they talk about the strength of a gorilla, and they eat fruit. Fruit and leaves. And like you said, a bull, a horse, you ever ridden a horse and the power and the strength and the muscles in that horse, and that horse eats what? Alfalfa and hay and grass. And yeah, it's got a digestive system that processes it a little better than what we do, but we don't have to eat hay and grass. We can eat fruits and vegetables and all sorts of more complex foods that don't necessarily have a ton of protein in them. And we can build the same muscles, the same organs, the same everything, and have this level of health that, in my opinion, for me, the most important piece was that it weakened the cancer and it made it susceptible.
Sure. You bet. And Joe, You worried about your protein? Okay. Ask in your blood test, total protein, albumin, pre-albumin. You can measure all that stuff.
Oh yeah. And mine's generally
It's not,
shows up.
we're not flying blind here.
Right.
Oh, I'm low on protein. Oh yeah, what was your number? What's your
Right.
blood test say?
And generally mine shows up low, but it's just a little bit low. And
Yeah.
I look at the threshold, and as long as my immune system is responding and everything else
Yeah,
seems to
and
be
you're not getting anemic.
right. And I'm not having, side effects that are because of the low protein and low albumin, then I'm okay. Like the markers that they have, even that is a range. Like they don't know what your
Yeah,
ideal
it's a range. It's a
amount is.
range.
Yeah,
And get your numbers every month.
right.
What the heck? It's so
Well,
logical.
that has been one of Dr. Song's most notable actions is that every time I see him, even if I go just for a checkup, he pulls blood and he evaluates it every single time. And I have probably, I don't know, 20 sets of blood panels that I can go back and look at. And I can see, this sort of cycle of where I know what I've been doing with my diet, with my appetite, with the chemo effects. And I can say, well, even in the worst, or when I was fasting prior to the chemo, I still maintained a level that was acceptable. And, the Hominex, the medical food, that's been instrumental in that because I know I can take that and I can get all these amino.
Arminex is just great.
Yeah, it's been a big part of my journey in that.
Yeah, I mean, it's got 19 amino acids, everything except methionine.
Right. And it's got a lot
got
of other nutrients as well.
tons of calories,
Right. And
vitamins, minerals.
all of it.
It's good.
Well,
The kids who have those genetic diseases where they build up the homocysteine to enormous levels because they can't process methionine right.
right.
They have to eat that all their life,
Yeah.
and they can do it.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I just know, and it's funny because I sent that article to a couple of doctors and a couple of people that work with doctors on a pretty high level. And the insight that these people had, they said, wow, you're able to help a lot of people with this information. And they understood the value of this work. All these papers that you publish, it's not just to whatever get your name out there. It's not just to say, look what I did, but we're developing an understanding of a thing that's going to save lives, that does save lives. And eventually, I believe that with the people like me and Scott and you and Dave and all these people that are, and Shahiro and people that are sharing our stories and living it and demonstrating the value, I think it's going to keep growing.
It's growing, Joe. There's no question. It's growing.
Yeah,
and that's good.
And that paradigm is shifting. It's not shifting fast.
But it's shifting.
But it is shifting. And every time one more doctor takes a look at that and reads it over a second time, you know that they're starting to see this thing that's real. But they wouldn't never see it if they didn't have this peer-reviewed, evidence-based report that validates it. And that is so critical. And for that, Dr. Hoffman, I'm so grateful that you and your team were able to compile this. And, I was more than glad to give you anything you needed, and I would have done it again.
We couldn't have written it without you supplied all the data, Joe.
Well,
we just we just formatted it.
you did the part I didn't know how to do, and I did the part
Okay.
that you couldn't have done.
It was, it was just kind of almost automated because your data are so fantastic.
And the beauty of it,
I mean, they're just out of this world data.
right? And the beauty is we know exactly what we did, and the evidence shows exactly what happened. And again, we're not making a conclusion about it other than we did this and we got that, and that's it.
Exactly.
And
That's exactly right. We did this and we got that.
right. And every time that we're able to do that, now we have a Scott and a Shahiro, and
We have more, that there's people on the Zoom that don't talk much, like
I
Joanne.
know. Right.
She's got a complete response to her chronic lymphocytic leukemia. I don't know if Wanda's still on. Looks like she went into remission on her rectal cancer. Little
Nice.
girl with brain cancer. She's alive years more than she's predicted to be.
And
We've
each
got
time
some
we get
fantastic people.
one of these case studies and you start to put it up on the wall, it's like the detective trying to solve a murder mystery. And they put all these pieces up on the wall, and eventually it starts showing a picture. And I
Yeah,
think that's what we're starting to do here.
that's right.
So, well, Robert, as always, it's been a pleasure.
For me too, Joe. I
And
hope 1 million people watch this podcast.
I do too. And I'm just so excited that it's finally, not only is the tumor finally gone, but the report is out there now, and it's now a beacon that people can see and learn from and start to explore similar case studies. So
You
I,
bet.
again, can't share enough gratitude with you and your team. And
Well,
I,
we have the same gratitude to you
I love it. Well,
for the fantastic result you got.
and that's what the being a part of a team's all about. Well,
Yep.
folks, this has been another episode of the Healthy Living Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Grumbine, and I want to thank everybody that has made this show possible. And Dr. Hoffman, always we're grateful for you. And
Always, Joe. I'm grateful to be on. Looking forward to the next one. And I hope we've reached more cancer patients every week.
I love it. And we'll see you all next time. This has been another episode of the Healthy Living Podcast. We produce this show so that people can share their stories, people that have overcome obstacles, people that are undergoing obstacles. We're building a community of health-minded individuals. If you're interested in supporting the show, please leave a review on the platform you're listening to it on. If you're interested in becoming a guest, please send an email to itsjoegrumbine@gmail.com, or you can send a note into the notes section of the podcast. All right. Well, thank you for supporting this show, and we hope you've enjoyed it.